Well, welcome to our October update here at the Alberta on Fire Investor Team. We wanted to give a bit of a general market update, what's happening here in real estate in the Alberta market, and in particular maybe the Edmonton area. We hear a lot in the news media about real estate crashing, things sliding, big losses in jobs and that sort of thing. But we thought we'd clear up a few misconceptions as to what's actually happening in our market and how that affects you as a real estate investor. So one of the things that we always look at is employment. Do people have jobs? Are jobs increasing? Are they decreasing? What's the unemployment rate? Well, it's interesting that our unemployment rate in Edmonton, the Greater Edmonton Area, has gone up. Okay, so it's gone up to 5.9%. What was it in September of 2014? Well, back then it was 5.5%. Sorry, 5.4%. So really we've seen a 0.5% increase in our unemployment rate here in the Greater Edmonton area. So it is an increase. It does have an effect on some people, but it's not a massive increase as is sometimes heard in the media. And what's interesting when we have a look at not the unemployment rate, but we look at the employment rate here in the Greater Edmonton area, another good stat to look at if you're a real estate investor, was actually up in September by 2.8% over September 2014. So what that means is it was a net increase of 20,800 jobs from September 2014. More jobs available, more jobs that were taken. Our employment rate is actually up. And what's also interesting is month over month, that employment in September was up by 4,500 more jobs than August. So in 1 month we had an increase of 4,500 jobs from August to September. So we actually have more jobs here in the Edmonton area than we had this time last year. Now, are those just part-time jobs or low-paying jobs? Well, it's interesting if we have a look at the average weekly earnings. StatsCan just gave us an average weekly earning report, and the Edmonton area, the average weekly earnings are actually up again 4.3% in August 2015 versus August 2014. So that's an increase up to $1,109 on average earned per week. So how do we compare that to other areas? Well, the Canadian average is $955 per week. Calgary, the number one in the country, is $1,121. So Edmonton at $1,109 really is trailing Calgary, the number one in the country, by just a few dollars per month. So really more jobs here in Edmonton than this time last year. And on average, people are earning more. Is it a good thing or a bad thing for real estate values long term? Well, it's definitely a good thing to hear those kind of statistics. What else is happening? Well, let's talk about our actual real estate market. The economy is, as we just talked about, not doing too bad when it comes to jobs and earnings. In our real estate market, if we have a look at residential sales, now a lot of the articles that you're going to hear are residential sales are plummeting, or that prices are decreasing sharply. You hear those kind of headlines. Well, a lot of times what they're referring to when they say that real estate is declining is total volume of sales, not necessarily prices, because the first thing we think about are prices are down. This has nothing to do with prices. Residential sales have decreased, yes. They decreased in September by 7% over a year earlier. So September 2014 to September 2015, the amount of sales is down by 7%. But now think about that. If you're a buyer, do you want more on the market to choose from, or do you want less on the market to choose from? Well, it only makes sense. We're better off if we have more to choose from. And so again, as a buyer, this is a good thing to be looking at. Well, let's talk about prices. What are prices doing? Are they plummeting? Are they crashing here in the Edmonton area? Well, according to the Real Estate Association of Edmonton, the average residential sales price in Edmonton decreased in September. Yes, it did go down by 0.7% year over year. So we are down 0.7% from this time last year. So yes, real estate prices have gone down very slightly. This is the first decrease that we've seen since oil prices started to go down. So what were we expecting this year? We're expecting pretty much a flat market, maybe a little bit up, maybe a little bit down by 1% or 2%. But we're not expecting huge decreases because of the stuff that we talked about earlier, because of the average earnings, and because of the jobs still being created in this market. So there's a bit of an update as to what's happening, and it's good to keep an eye on these types of things so that we, as real estate investors, are well educated, and we're not just making decisions based on what we hear at the coffee shop, which is sometimes always negative. So there we go. That's what's happening. That's our update for October 2015.